everybody. Hey everybody, my name is Peter Gunzo. Today I'm just going to be cutting up a couple logs for a little table project that I got going. I'm just making tabletop and making a couple rails, I guess. Well, I was trying to start a fire here. Hopefully I got distracted, so might smoke a little bit. What I got to do is, this is some pine salvage I got a hold of. Just over in the bush there. Seemed to be pretty solid, hey Dave? So, this dry stuff, this is pretty straight, so it has a check here, so I want to roll this check like this. So when I'm cutting this way, I'll probably just have, if I set it up, I'll just have like the middle part, maybe a middle inch or two I'll lose there, right? But the rest, I can do a few planks. I'm gonna do a plank tabletop. I just need to make some planks, 1.5 inch material. I'm gonna make a heavy duty outdoor work table right now. So what do I need? Well, I just need to make sure that this is going to be about like that. So, gotta see where this crack is here. That's at about 6 inches. That's at about 6 inches. So, I think I'll leave it right there. I know that side looks a little bit, I'll see here, 10 inches here. And I've got 10 inches to this low spot right here. It's got a tiny little bit of a crown to it, but that's the way it goes. I have to keep it like that because I don't want to lose too much wood. I can't cut it the other way because then if I cut it, if I cut this log the other way, this crack here all the way up, it will split my boards in half. So I have to, I'll lose probably maybe an inch, maybe an inch and a half of material out the middle here, but I'll still be able to get 3 planks on this, or 2 planks on this side, an inch and a half, and 2 on that side. For salvage pine, right, the stuff just laying on the ground, I can get some pretty nice, and it's got some, it'll have that real nice blues in it from being bug killed. I'm going to be, got 2 bases right there. Those are going to be the ends of the table. I'll have some joinery work right through the middle of those posts there, so I can put a tabletop on, and then I can put another bottom part of the table underneath. So that bottom part of the table, then I can store tools and different things, right? But right now I'm going to cut this thing down. Like I said, I've got 6 inches on both sides to where the crack is there, so I want to have at least probably 4 inches above that. 3 3/4, I'll say. So I'll take a cut at 9 3/4 and see where that puts me on this. You always got to make sure your dogs are locked in nice and your dogs aren't too high. I hit one dog already, and hit them actually a couple times, right? Kind of messes up your blade. It messed up my one dog a bit, but I was able to straighten it out with the hammer, right? But it's just something you don't really want to do too often. Yeah, there's a lever here that just moves this, right? This here there's a tracking system, right? You move that back and forth, then that tracking system guides your saw so it doesn't flop around as much, just as it's going into your piece of wood, right? Like this tracking system here, it slides on ceramics. It slides on ceramics. In between ceramics, and has a ceramic stopper on the back. So far it seems to be working pretty good, right? There's the other sawmill that I had before, that was a wood miser. That one had actually some really nice bearings, right? Held that blade in there just perfect, and it was all on bearing roller systems, right? Well, I think it's a nicer system, but I have no complaints with this one so far, right? The ceramic just freaks me out because I do have a couple little cracks and stuff in the ceramics, so the bearings seem to be a little bit better, right? But vice versa, if the ceramic lasts forever, then the ceramic's the way to go. But if they break, then I was wondering why these things were hurting my nose. That's what happens when you have a toddler running around the house, right? He was wearing these things earlier. That has, it probably has his little fingerprints all over it. Okay, so I want, I can probably come down another, I'll come down another 3/4 and I'll start taking some slabs off there. I was just trying to utilize the most of the piece of wood here. Yeah, the water wasn't running, but I got it running, right? But you can see from this pine kill, right? Bud kill wood. You see that? You see that blue in there? Like that whole plank. This piece here, this is just a scrap piece, but it's not really scrap. You can't call a piece of wood scrap to a carpenter, right? But you see, like, look at that blue. Like, if you want some nice material, right, for siding, like, you know, for doing a feature wall or something, this is the stuff you want right here. Or you want some custom cabinets, right? I've got to do a set of custom cabinets for Catherine Holler, right, and right? Probably use something. I'll probably use something like this for her cabinets, right? Something that has this nice blue look to it, right? Then it'll look real nice. Now that I have that, I'm just going to turn that right around to the other side and start coming down from the other side. And I'll figure out how wide to make my... With each slab, I can probably nail them together and then cut them down to the thickness. I can have some probably at, maybe some at 7 or 8 inches. And then I can probably have some like maybe some will be only 4 inches, maybe some will be wider, right? But I could just clamp them together instead of trying to cut them all the same size. I can maximize, it takes a little bit more work, but I can maximize my yield by just cutting them in slabs right now and then flipping them up on edge and then, you know, doing what I got to do. It's a little bit more fussing around, but I get a little bit more material see on my sawmill here, I screwed a 2x4 to this, right? I notched it out and screwed this down. But that 2x4, it works pretty good. Because see how the dogs go from one bunk, then the next to the next bunk. But if you only want to cut a small piece, right? I even have another piece of wood in here, lives here. I'm gonna have another piece of wood that sits up underneath here. So if I want to, usually I'll just clamp down another piece of wood. If I have to cut stuff that's too small, like say if I only got some 4-footers that I want to cut down. Well, if I got a 4-footer, then I can't clamp them from dog to dog, right? I should have another set of dogs, right? The way these dog system is on this thing, you can't move them that easy, right? It'd be nice to have an adjustable dog that slid along the rails, but it doesn't work that way. So that's why I have that 2x4 and other things in there. Sometimes I'll just clamp a plank down, then put my short log up there, and then screw it down, and then I'm good to go. Actually, I'm not gonna, because I'll probably still want to take 1.5 inches off the bottom here. I usually don't like cutting like this, just because when you take a whole bunch of relief cuts, when you cut off the top and keep on cutting, sometimes your piece of wood will want to twist on you. This stuff is all seasoned, aged, seasoned, right? It was dead standing, so there shouldn't really be any twist to it. But the green stuff, like cutting green fir or twisted pine a little bit, right? When you start making those cuts in the green stuff, that wood will start bending on you. Like you're only held down on a couple of spots with your dogs when you're cutting green wood. Once you start cutting into it, sometimes it has a tendency to twist or to warp a little bit, and then they'll mess you right up because you think you're doing a perfect job, and then next thing you know, right, you're looking at your piece of material and you're like, oh, this thing's out to lunch, right? That's why. So what do I want to do here? I have to be above this, right? I want to probably be up a good 1/2 inch above that. So try 8 1/4 inches. Okay, that's this is a really nice clear plank on this side here. This will probably get cut down to 2x4, maybe a 2x6, right? Looks like probably get a 2x6 out of this, right? It might have a little bit of the edges might have a little bit of waning in them, right? But if it's going to be the top, if I use this other side for the top of the table, you won't see those wane marks, right? They'll all be on the bottom, right? So hopefully everything works out good for this next cut at 1.5 inches here. Hopefully that crack goes the other way. Then I'll have the next plank here will be a really super clear piece. So fingers crossed. Just going to give this a go. My water isn't working too good. I might have to turn it up a little bit here. So that, like you can see, like on that cut there, like that, this is, oh. See, that was all buggered up there, right? That's the crack in there, right? So on this piece, on this board here, I got pretty lucky. So that's totally a clear piece of pine right there. What makes this piece of pine so nice is that this is dry standing, right? This is the stuff that everybody's cutting down for firewood, right? And you know, it's this stuff here, this blue pine, when it's like this, like it's rated like grade A plus, right? For the Japanese, they love that stuff, right? But for us, right? You can see this big crack all the way through here, right? So whatever planks I'm going to get right out of this piece here. So I have about 2.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reclamp this down. Yeah, with this dogging system, every time you clamp anything down, right, it's always good. It's always good to take a look underneath your cant or whatever you're cut. Make sure there's no, because sometimes when you clamp these dogs down, it has a tendency to lift this